The winter morning in Manhattan was unusually bright, as if yesterday's storm had been only a foreshadowing. Standing by the French window of a cafe, Haley watched taxis speed by, but her heart was far from the calmness that the city seemed to possess ever since the takeout food incident. Security had tightened, her colleagues were buzzing with gossip, some curious, some jealous, others with inexplicable suspicions. Haley felt the gazes from all sides, and even though she feigned indifference, she felt a heavy weight in her heart. Just as she was trying to calm herself down, a goblet quietly landed in front of her workbench. "A mocha, please?" Brandon Scott's voice was low and gentle. Haley was startled, then looked up to meet a pair of deep blue eyes. Brandon, wearing a wool coat and a gray-blue scarf around his collar, exuded a winter elegance and nobility. He nodded and smiled at her, as mild as bright as the winter sun. "Why are you here?" She subconsciously lowered her voice with a complicated expression. "I was passing by and came to see you," Brandon said, as if he was talking about an ordinary little thing. Haley quickly made a mocha and handed it over. Brandon took the coffee and didn't leave. Instead, he sat down at the bar and stirred the coffee slowly, his eyes fixed on her. "How are you doing recently? I heard that you have a lot more bodyguards around you." There was concern and inquiry in his eyes. "It's okay, it's just, my family is a little worried." Haley lowered her head to avoid his gaze. "You don't have to worry about me." Brandon looked at her quietly for a moment, a gentle smile curling his lips. "I thought you'd enjoy a quiet life, but I didn't expect you'd be caught up in so much trouble." "I didn't expect that," she smiled bitterly. "If you feel tired, you can always come to me." Brandon paused, his tone softening. "I'm happy to accompany you through it." During lunch break, Brandon took the initiative to invite her to have lunch at a nearby restaurant. Haley initially declined, but Brandon patiently persuaded her. "It's not a formal date, just think of it as lunch with friends." She couldn't refuse, and could only nod. The restaurant was quiet and welcoming. Brandon was a master at balancing the atmosphere, always able to ease her guard with light-hearted conversation as they chatted about their hometown, their upbringing, and their future dreams. Haley discovered that he was not only knowledgeable but also possessed a calmness that was unlike any other man his age. "Have you ever thought about leaving here one day and going to a place where no one knows you?" Brandon asked. Haley shook her head, a complex mix of emotions in her eyes. "I used to think about it, but no, I feel like I can never go back to my original self." "You always have the right to choose?" Brandon looked at her seriously. "You don't have to force yourself for anyone." Haley looked up and met his gaze. In that instant, she felt a warm encouragement but also vaguely sensed the other person's deeper meaning. "Thank you," she said softly, but she didn't dare to take this emotion any further. After lunch, we returned to the cafe. Rosie and several colleagues immediately surrounded us and joked. Hey, the mysterious handsome guy is here to pick you up again. When are you going to invite us to the wedding? Don't mention it. Our Haley is about to become a Richmond harvester." Haley's face flushed, and she forced herself to remain calm as she read her needlework, but the rumors were everywhere, like dust, making her cautious with every move she made. After work, Brandon waited for her outdoor and handed her an umbrella. "It might snow tonight, I'll take you home." "Really, no need. I can't go back by myself," Haley insisted. "I know you're used to being independent, but it's normal for friends to care about each other," Brandon said with a smile. "Besides, you've been under a lot of scrutiny lately, so having more people around is always safer." Haley thought about it, and finally accepted his kindness. The two walked one after the other on the cold street, and snowflakes began to fall in the night. Brandon held an umbrella and kept pace with her. Speaking of the recent chaos in her life, Haley finally couldn't help but complain in a low voice. "I'm really starting to feel overwhelmed. Sometimes I feel like I'm living on a stage in other people's eyes, and I could be kicked out at any moment." Brandon listened quietly and finally said, "You've done a great job. Don't always think about what others think of you. Ask yourself what you really want." Haley was silent for a long time before she whispered, "I want a chance to control my own destiny. I'd like you to consider this opportunity." Brandon paused and looked at her seriously. "My father has a startup in Los Angeles and they're looking for an operations assistant. I've recommended your resume. You don't have to agree right away. Let me know when you reread it." Haley was stunned for a moment. She hadn't expected Brandon to be truly serious about her, and not just pursuing her on a whim. "Thank you, but I won't force you," Brandon interrupted. "I like you, but I want to see you live a good life even more. No matter what you choose, I will stand by you." Back at the villa, Linda found Thatch was in a very complicated mood. "Have you encountered any difficulties?" "No, I just feel like the world has suddenly become bigger and there are more choices." Haley smiled casually. "Don't be afraid, it's good to have many paths. True happiness is being able to choose the path you want to take." Linda patted her hands. Haley nodded, and after returning to her room. She couldn't calm down for a long time. Late at night, Alexander knocked on her door. As soon as Haley opened the door, she smelled mint and tobacco on him. Brandon looked for you today? He asked straight to the point. Yes, he recommended a job to me. Haley did not hide it. Alexander nodded and wasn't for a long time. Do you want to go? I haven't made up my mind yet, she said honestly. I don't know if I can turn back. Alexander's eyes were gentle, yet tinged with a hint of sadness. Don't feel any burden, whatever you decide, I will support you. Would you mind? Haley's voice trembled a little. I do, Alexander said frankly. But if the path you choose makes you happy, I will restrain myself. The ambiguity in the air suddenly grew thicker. The distance between them seemed to be shrinking, yet also growing further and further apart. Thank you, Haley whispered. With you by my side, I have the courage to face everything. Alexander walked over, hugged her gently, and said nothing more. In the early morning hours, the snow finally began to fall. Haley tossed and turned in her bed, her mind filled with Brandon's words, and Alexander's embrace. She felt like she was at a crossroads in life, with every step filled with uncertainty. Snowflakes fell quietly outside the window. She closed her eyes and said to herself, no matter which path I choose, I must stay true to myself. But she didn't know that a bigger storm was quietly approaching.
Please stay tuned for the next episode.
See you there.